Hey, peace and blessings, everybody. It's your brother Asare, and me back with another one. Just wanted to do. Know it's been a little took a little brief hiatus and everything like that, but we back with another one. And as a matter of fact, this it's like the 100th video. Um, you know what I mean? So in keeping with that, yeah, man, I figured we'll get into this TM a little bit today. Y'all want to get into TM? Yeah, man, we'll get into this. TM, and I think y'all see the title of the video, um, Selfishness of Purpose, right? So it's gonna be a decent one today. Selfishness of purpose. What do we mean by that? Now I'm gonna go into this. I'm gonna go into TM real quick, and I'm gonna kind of like lay something down real quick. In regards to this, right? So okay, so this is True Master Volume 1. All right. Little section, the most spiritual person on the planet, right? Okay. The most spiritual person on earth, and when I say this, I mean functionally and in practical application spiritual. This means manifestation, and no, I'm not referring to a priest. I'm referencing the highest paid profession on earth, a salesperson. A salesperson is spiritual because with the aid of nothing but his or her mind and emotions, he or she manifests tangible results and money out of nothing. The salesperson, even when they're having a bad day, must psych themselves into having a good day. This is transmutation of mental states. That good day mentality draws money to them. This is a functional use of what's commonly called the law of attraction. We must apply the mindset of a salesman to whatever goal we set. However, not done on an individual basis. This focus must be filtered through a system and crystallized by a machine that runs a program. Only then can we maximize our energy. The archer, the bow, the arrow, and the target are one. To hit the target is to hit the self. Never for a moment think you are bending the spoon. You are always bending yourself, the artless art. Okay, so that's a little section out of TM where it talks about the most spiritual person on the planet. Um, Basically, what it's talking about, taking the mentality and the persistence of a salesman and everything like that and applying it to your system or whatever case may be. Remember we were talking about it's not the prize is not the priority. You see what I'm saying? It's the prize because you made it the prize, but the real thing what you're trying to do is you're trying to basically develop yourself and perfect your approach or whatever case may be. Now, what we talking about when we talk about selfishness of purpose, those when I say the salesperson is the most spiritual person on earth, what I mean when I distill that down is that they have to bring that they have to get results regardless. They have to go out there and they have to psych themselves into getting results regardless. So that's one level of the game. Now, when we talk about selfishness or purpose is more for my underdogs out here. This one is really for the underdogs or whatever who are facing extenuating circumstances. You're facing excess pressure. You're facing excess resistance or whatever case may be. So imagine what the salesman has to make it work. Regardless of what type of resistance he's facing, but he's facing normal levels of resistance. This is for my underdogs who are facing um, insane levels of resistance, various different situations that we may run into. So when in the book True Master, um, when it's talking about selfishness of purpose, um, I'm not getting as personal as we about to get. You see what I'm saying? It's more applying to staying in this thought process. um, it's like an incubator for this particular thought process. You see what I'm saying? And it's going into the idea that you can't expect people to understand you when you delve into uncharted regions or whatever case may be. You just have to have a certain level of selfishness of purpose or knowing that whatever you're trying to do or trying to accomplish is worthwhile or whatever case may be, and that you're gonna find what you're trying to find or whatever case may be. That's another level of selfishness of purpose or whatever case may be. So as we get into this, you may see the theme of what I'm talking about. This is experiencing excessive levels of resistance. Okay, so let's get into this, right? Okay, selfishness of purpose, right? So this is a teaching from True Master 1. Like that's a little section, a little portion out of True Master one we just read. It is often said by people in the self-help or coaching arena to find your purpose, right? I would say in the language of True Master and experiential, if I may loosely translate it, to find the principle that compels you the most and polarize yourself to it, right? Okay, nothing wrong with this. I'm not banging on nobody who's saying find your purpose or whatever. I think that's actually a good thing. You should find your purpose or what have you. Okay, nothing wrong with that. This would actually be a more balanced aspect of what I'm talking about, is as in selfishness of purpose, right? Okay, selfishness of purpose is I want this W like I want air. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna my will be done. Must be. That's selfishness of purpose. I gotta have it type thing. That's selfishness of purpose or whatever the case may be. So we're gonna go into how that's an extreme and how that can sabotage relationships with people or whatever. You may be so polarized toward one thing or whatever, or attainment of that one thing or whatever, where you don't care about your relationships with nobody else. It's all about me being successful in this or me being the best at that or whatever the case may be. That's a level of selfishness of purpose. You don't care nothing about nobody, no relationship. All you care about is this one thing. So you sacrifice all your relationships and everything like that to get to the top. And you very well may get to the top, but at the expense of all the relationships and things like that. You see what I'm saying? So um, as we explore this teaching, selfishness or purpose, we're gonna explore like the pros, the cons, and when to actually use this or whatever case may be. Because some people would view what I'm describing them as a level of narcissism or whatever case may be. So, but how we always talk about it's all energy. There's a time and a place for every form of energy or whatever case may be. So we're just exploring this. So let's see. So finding your purpose would actually be the balanced aspect of what I'm calling selfishness of purpose, right? Okay, so as we always discuss balance and the fact that balance, at an example, homeostasis in the body, is necessary for prolonged life of any system or relationship, right? So things have to have balance. We talked about pressure mediation in other videos and stuff like that. That's common in systems throughout the universe. That's just how nature works, balance. You see what I'm saying? So what we will be discussing here is an extreme. Selfishness of purpose, what I'm talking about is an extreme. It can get results, but it is an extreme and it should only be used at certain times or whatever because it operates at the expense of a relationship. You see what I'm saying? So um let's see, selfishness of purpose in the context we will be using it is intentionally unbalanced. It's intentionally unbalanced. Okay, not designed to sustain relationships. It's one-sided. Selfishness of purpose is one-sided. You see what I'm saying? What I'm describing. This is a polarization to one side. Okay, so in True Master, we talk about emotions being used proactively. In the language of the experiential, this would tie into trance, the language of the experiential. The brother Naju, he gets more in depth into trance and stuff like that, or whatever the case may be. Any hypnotist would tell you that humans are in trance 100% of the time. Humans are in trance 100% of the time. Okay, and our emotional states are equal to trance states. So every time we jump emotions or whatever, that's just a different trance that we gotten ourselves into, but 100% of the time we're always in some form of trance. In True Master, emotions are likened unto a musical scale. Okay, in martial arts, this is used in the sense that some people, different people use different motivations when they fight. Some people fight with fear. You see what I'm saying? They don't want to be hit. They fetishize about the other person beating them up, so they fight. So it makes them fight harder, or whatever the case may be. Some people fight with anger. You see what I'm saying, as an emotion or whatever the case may be. So different people use different emotions proactively, how I'm describing here, in various different situations. Let's see here. Like I said, some people use fear as a motivating feeling, proactive emotions. Okay, so in True Master, we also spoke about how in many situations we go through, we may experience resistance, right? So that's just a part of endeavoring on certain trajectories and certain things, you're going to experience a level of resistance. I think astrologically, that's Saturn, that's the energy of Saturn or whatever case may be, structure, boundaries, and things of that nature. Let's see here. Usually, if pressure is applied over time, the resistance will cycle out. And how we talk a lot about kung fu and stuff like that. Kung fu itself means hard work over time. So that's the basis of kung fu and everything like that. Working hard over time, you run into obstacles and things that you can't do, but over time you work it out or whatever case may be, and you become more proficient at what you're trying to do. You break barriers or whatever case may be. Okay, so now since selfishness of purpose is the intentionally unbalanced extreme of simply finding your purpose and nurturing that purpose within self. So the balanced version of this is finding your purpose and nurturing that principle within yourself. And it's inclusive of your relationships or whatever case may be. You see what I'm saying? Maybe the people in your life may be you may integrate them into this whole thing with your purpose and everything like that. So you may actually enrich the quality of other people's lives by finding your purpose. You see what I'm saying? It's that's when it's balanced and stuff like that. Okay, so but all systems seek equilibrium. So why would you be intentionally unbalanced with your agenda? Okay, okay. Why would you take this unbalanced perspective that I'm talking about? Selfishness of purpose. Okay, so here's the punchline. Okay, extreme levels of resistance. Okay, you that rose trying to grow out the concrete. So you're applying extreme levels of connection to whatever principle that you're dealing with because it's extreme resistance trying to disconnect you from certain levels of principles or whatever. Okay, so in life, sometimes there will be periods of extreme resistance. I usually refer to them as dark nights of the soul. Okay, if we go to Google AI, right? Google AI defines dark night of the soul as a period of intense spiritual crisis, often characterized by a loss of meaning, purpose, and connection, leading to a sense of emptiness and despair, but ultimately paving the way for deeper spiritual growth and transformation. So yeah, so when I'm talking, so as a teaching, I don't really get this personal in the book. You see what I'm saying? I'm the idea is to incubate the thought process in the book, but this is like I said, when I was going through some things when I wrote this book, some tangible physical situations when I wrote this book and stuff like that, I was up under certain levels of extreme levels of resistance or whatever case may be. So I was going through something like this um, when I wrote this material, and I had to cling very hard to certain principles and certain things or whatever. Like I said before in the video about the etiquette of manhood, men. Um, have a code that they live by. Men are governed by principles. You see what I'm saying? The principles that a man is governed by, or whatever case may be, allows him to bounce back. You see what I'm saying? When he endures hardships or adversities or whatever case may be, the principles that he's governed by give him the strength of mind and character to bounce back or whatever case may be. You choose a man with bad principles, it ain't no telling what you're gonna get. So let's see here. So so for anyone who bought True Master One and read that part, uh, like I said, I explained kind of how it's worded in the book, but that's what I was experiencing. And selfishness of purpose at that time was my counterbalance, an extreme as far as my counterbalance or whatever case may be, because as it pertains to the dark night of the soul, your dark night of the soul, that's like when you're going through certain. I'll put it to you like this. Um, uh, let's say like everybody who you think is like your friend or whatever case may be, or you know they got your back or whatever case may be. And this is for my young people. Um, if you go through a serious enough situation, all of those people will depart from you. Virtually all of those people will depart from you. If you watch the movie American Gangster and Frank Lucas' mama tell him that, if you catch this case or whatever case may be, she will leave you. I will leave you. She says that. So this is just for my young people. This is the dark night of the soul or whatever. Everything is taken from you. All you really have left is you. You see what I'm saying? And your level of comfortability and your level of power that you find within yourself is sometimes that's all you're gonna have to go by. And I know everybody talks about, all the I know when we, watch TV, we don't really I don't know, a lot of this stuff ain't really talked about or whatever case may be, but maintaining your sanity and your motivation in times of extreme resistance. You see what I'm saying? When you ain't got no kind words, you ain't got no advice, you ain't got nobody that really gives a damn about what you're going through. It's just you and your brain, and you got to figure it out. You see what I'm saying? So and you got to figure out the best way that you can or whatever, and you got to reach deep down here to find the motivation and what you need to even motivate this to work. You see what I'm saying? So that's just a, that's the dark night of the soul thing or whatever case may be. That's the purpose of selfishness of purpose. Because you just gotta know whatever it is that you stand for is gonna carry you through, and it's valuable enough and it's valid enough to hold you down and to and give you what you need to keep pushing through your whole situation or whatever that situation may be, the loss of a loved one, um, some sort of medical situation or whatever case may be. You see what I'm saying? Betrayals, anything. You see what I'm saying? Hold on. I go into this. If let's see, if you watch the video on fragmentation of attention, if you go back to the definition of dark night of the soul, it's basically a level of fragmentation of attention or disconnect from principle. Selfishness of purpose is a hyper focus on principle to offset your world falling apart. So that's the selfishness of purpose, and that's why we have it. Like I say, this is for my underdogs. When you gotta press forward, you in it. You can't go backwards. You gotta go forward. You in it. You gotta like keep pressing forward. It ain't no turning back. It's you go hard or go to hell, homie. So you gotta go forward. You see what I'm saying? So how you gonna do that? You gotta get it. Sometimes you gotta get it from in here. So selfishness of purpose, to bounce back from that loss you may have taken, betrayals, abandonments, hardships, sorrows. When you can't turn back, you're in it. You got to press on against insane odds. No help, no advice, no kind words, laughter from hidden foes, the deep end alone, darkness. You are all that there is to have. So dig in. You're all that there is to have, homie. So dig in. And we're going to get into further videos about that when we talk about the experiential, how you're the only one here and how it's only one thing. You know what I'm saying? So, and that ties into the thing about how we know God exists. It's not nothing in speculation. So, but moving right along, this is when the extreme of selfishness or purpose can sustain you while buried alive and motivate you to climb from the grave. So, yeah, man, that was just one for my underdogs, man. Anybody who may be experiencing like, I don't know, very difficult situations in their life or whatever. Sometimes you just gotta like cling on to, you know, the reason why you're doing what you're doing. And as long as if you're doing what you're doing for substantial good reasons or whatever the case may be, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, you may be able to, pull something from in here to kind of sustain you or whatever the case may be. If you truly believe in why you doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? You gotta, okay, these kids gotta eat. You see what I'm saying? This is my family, this is an investment in the future and whatever case may be, whatever you own, whatever principle sustains you or whatever. But that's the extreme side of when cats be like, okay, well man, find your purpose or whatever case may be. That's the balanced side or whatever. And that's a very valid saying or whatever case may be. This is the extreme side when all has left you and you just gotta go for what you know. And it ain't nothing. It ain't nobody but you. It ain't no help. It's just hey, you just gotta get it. So that's selfishness or purpose. I hope that went too long. Man, this video 100. I just thought I'd do a little something out of that. Man, out of that TM real quick. Do a little something out of that TM volume one. But yeah, man, appreciate y'all support, man. You like what you've been hearing, like and subscribe. Peace and blessings, man.